Welcome again, Pisces. Dadhichi Toth here from astrology.com.au. It's March 2015 and I'm just going to carry on as I do, talk to you a little bit about your horoscope. It's important this month because there's a new moon and a full moon falling across the 1st and 7th axis of the Pisces horoscope. This has to do with your relationships. The full moon, which takes place in Virgo, the 7th house of your horoscope, is the marriage sector. That's very, very important. And then on the 13th, the transit of Mercury ruling that sector into your sun sign, into the sign of debilitation. Pisces is its weak sign. All point to the first week or two of the month being strongly focused on these areas of your life. And let's not forget that Neptune, which is a very slow-moving planet, is still casting its confusing, if not idealistic, energies on your relationship, your ruling planet. No doubt you're very idealistic in love. You have Sun there right now. So a lot of energy across this relationship axis. And so your attention has to be brought to this area. And let's not forget too that from the apex, what we call the midheaven part of your horoscope, Saturn, which has been just recently transiting this area, is casting its very hard square aspect. It's a reverse square aspect to your sector of relationships. Now, for some of you, and I don't want to be a wet blanket here, I don't want to be the bringer of bad news, but this is really a very challenging 2.5 years coming. And it shows that whatever relationship you're in, if you're in a marital relationship or a long-term committed relationship, the true person will be revealed to you, and you will have choices to make there as to whether or not you're going to accept that person for who they are, or you're going to move on. The problem with you, Pisces, as you probably already know, is that you do tend to play the saviour role very, very well until you end up becoming the victim. There's no point being in a relationship if the person, what's that old saying, if you hang around a cripple long enough, you're going to develop a limp. You need to really, really clarify that. And I think the new moon and the full moon across this axis is going to do precisely that. You are going to have a whole new perspective on this. And I don't think it's just an intellectual perspective. I really see this as being an intuitive perspective based upon your ruling planet, Neptune, moving through your sun sign now. You're going to have that really deep, intuitive, I get it now, moment sometime shortly, if you haven't already had that. Now, discovering all of the weak points of the relationship doesn't mean that you're not going to continue in that relationship. But it does mean you don't necessarily have to play the victim in the relationship. A relationship has to be a mutually supportive arrangement where you both meet the needs of the other person. So I think these are the sorts of revelations that you can have during these important transits. Now, I didn't mention the other very heavy weighting in the 2nd house of your horoscope: Mars, Venus, South Node and Uranus in the 2nd house of finance. So this is a very important combination of planets there. We've talked about the aspects up to the 13th. But we see there, for example, the combined influence of Venus moving to your 3rd house of communications and contracts, simultaneous on the 18th with Mars in nice aspect there to the midheaven, and Uranus in square aspect to Pluto in the 11th, and Mercury in square aspect to Saturn in the 10th. So a lot of this has the connotations of renegotiating the terms of your work, the way you earn your money, and also, let's not leave out the first part of this equation, which was the personal side of your life, maybe renegotiating that. And that could be where you stop playing the victim from here on in. You become not a victim or a saviour, you become an equal in the relationship, and you don't accept crap from anyone, especially if it's undermining you and crippling you. The transits of Mercury to Neptune are a little bit dicey. Around the 18th, there's a bit of a confusing element there. That again ties in with your marital partnerships. So you may be helping someone through this period, helping them, you know, get up and running. But you do need to analyse and discriminate whether that person is deserving, you know, whether they're capable, and whether what you're doing is just throwing, you know, good money after bad, if I could put it that way. That applies to business partnerships as well. So, you know, a lot of financial stuff there. Mainly the focus, I think, has to do on reevaluating your relationships this month, especially with that new moon, turning over a new leaf, and looking at yourself, particularly in the way that you've been handling your relationships, and doing it in a way that's going to give you some value as well as the other person. You're a person too. You deserve the best.